Hi, so we're out here at the student farm today, and I'd like to introduce you to the director, Leslie Pillen, and we have a couple year collaboration going between the student farm, and they do all of our dye crops here. They put it in our dye garden. So we're having a look to see, what came up last year, but
Yeah,
Leslie.
so welcome to the student farm, everyone. As Kim said, my name is Leslie Pillen, and it is, April 12th, I guess, today, to April 13th, one of those, mid-April. So early spring for us still, and you can see we're here in some of our perennial crops. So some of those are back already for the year, but for the most part, the fields are still in their cover crops from winter, and we will be getting ready to start planting both our veggies and our herbs, but also the dye crops here in the next few weeks as the weather keeps warming up. So as Kim said, we were just kind of looking to see what came back from the dye crops last year. And over here, it looks like we have some of the dyer's chamomile that has self-seeded itself and come back really nicely, actually.
All this little fringe stuff makes a brilliant yellow, very clear, transparent yellow. We can't wait to use it.
Do you use the leaves or the flowers?
Both.
Oh, nice. So yeah, these fresh leaves are growing.
And what's this one, do you know?
That kind of looks like stock, which is a cut flower, but it may be just some kind of brassica that's seeded.
What's wonderful about natural dyeing is when you get the volunteer weed, like goldenrod or anything like that, we can use that too.
Yeah, and we just did notice, I think there's a patch of goldenrod that has established itself down here. So that's kind of fun. We can just intentionally let it keep growing, and then you'll have a use for it. I think there's some rudbeckia around too. Didn't we see a little bit that self-seeded?
Yeah.
There's one.
Yes.
This little guy right here, rudbeckia, came back. So that's fun.
Its common name is brown eye or black-eyed Susan, and it makes a beautiful green in the dyer's spectrum.
So yeah, some things have taken care of themselves and come back already, but in addition to what is self-seeding, we have this year's crop growing in the greenhouse right now. So in production, and then once the weather is warm enough for them to do well out here, we'll transplant them out for the summer. A lot of the dye plants will have really nice texture and leaf shape to them, and then ultimately nice flowers. So those are a really nice thing to even think about how we could use them to landscape around the farm. We have a main entryway. With the farm expansion, it's over there behind the high tunnel now. And so making a beautiful entrance for our visitors and our guests is important. So that could be a fun kind of multifunctional use of the dye crops, that they're there for the beauty, but then ultimately there for harvesting and for art.
I like that too, because it gives the students an idea that they can grow these at home too. You don't have to have a big plot of land. You can grow them along your borders, throw them in with your flower border, or even, along your household or in a container on your porch. And you can still reap the benefit of harvesting a little, because we can't harvest all at once anyway. So it's not big production. It's just slow mindfulness. So I like that. I like it being a little bit part of everybody's visit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and for the farm, we grow things in these straight beds because we're focused on production, and the bulk of what we grow food-wise goes to the dining commons. And so having straight beds and being able to calculate out what kind of production and yield we're going to get, that's important. But for the dye crops, to be able to just tuck them in places and really, like you're saying, Kim, demonstrate to people and show people, you don't have to lay out fields and beds to grow dye crops. You can just tuck them in spaces that you have open and that you maybe want to beautify.
Leslie and the students were my farm hers. I call them farm her.
Oh.
H-E-R. And if you want to do a CSA ever with the student farm, they're wonderful. Every week you come and you pick up a share, and it's full of all kinds of great vegetables. And if you're vegetable challenged, like I was a little bit, and that was my New Year's resolution, to eat more vegetables, it's a good way to get creative and get those vegetables into your cooking.
Yeah, thanks for the plug, Kim. It is really nice because since it's the Student Farm CSA, obviously students are growing the vegetables and learning how to grow the vegetables as they go, but they are also the ones packing the CSA and distributing it to our customers and doing, communications or identifying recipes to share with our CSA customers. So it's really student-led from start to finish, and it's a wonderful experience for the students in terms of learning. They're learning business skills and communication skills, supply chain management along the way, in addition to the vegetable production.
And just that interface with the community. I mean, I know my mom is almost 80, and she rode up with me every week. She wanted to come up along with me to pick up my summer CSA. And she loved talking to the students as well, talking to them. And
yeah, well,
she's
they're
a gardener.
So proud.
She's a gardener, so she doesn't do it anymore because she's older.
Right.
So she always liked hearing what they were doing, and
she gets to talk shop with them.
Talk shop with them, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess a current update on the Lions Pantry. We are in process of doing a pretty significant renovation in the facility. If you've ever been in there, it kind of was just more of a warehouse type space that got allocated for the pantry to get started. But now that it's becoming more established, we have an opportunity to do some renovations. And with that renovation, we will be including space for some refrigeration and freezer units. So that's really exciting since we've only had shelf-stable items to date that we'll be able to add perishables and, frozen foods and the like. Hopefully next fall. So the renovations are slated to happen this summer.
It's so amazing to me that the pilot program just took off, and it's just such a permanent place now. You have a residency, and a resident here now, and I'm so excited to have you have that. And likewise, our own course, the Sustainable Studio, was a pilot program, and it just received permanent status. With a permanent course in the SOVA curriculum this year.
Oh,
so our little pilot program is flourishing too, not at the same rate, but it's
very
going.
Exciting.
Yeah, so
and I think
it's a nice spin-off.
Also for all of the challenges and difficulties that COVID has brought on, one of the positives is that people are paying attention to food again.
They really
When
are.
you see food shortages in the grocery store, it does make you stop and think, wait, where does food actually come from? Because the grocery store is out. What do I do? And we've seen a really significant uptick in gardening across the country. And I think that's really tremendous because the food is fresher, healthier. You have that pride of growing it yourself. So I think we tend to waste less of it if we put in all the hard work to produce it.
And that shorter transportation rate for greenhouse gases and all that.
Energy consumption.
If we can cut down the mileage of food to table, field to table, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
and
it.
then it's time outdoors, fresh air, exercise. All of those things are so healthy for, any human to be out in nature and enjoying their garden and the outdoor space. So I've been really happy to see it. So this is one of our brand new high tunnels that's part of our expansion. And there's 3 total with plans for 6 eventually. This tunnel was full of food up until 2 weeks ago when we harvested all of it for Redifer Dining Commons. Redifer did a big event for our last wellness day last week or the week before, and so all the food went there. So now we have a new crop of spinach growing in right here. Here you can see the spinach plants. These little babies just came up recently. And then we have a new crop of interns who are growing, shall we say, right now, in training. And so just this week they were learning about how to prepare our beds and transplant.
That's so cool.
So they just transplanted kohlrabi and cabbage yesterday.
Oh, you always get the best interns too. It's so labor intensive out here, and anytime I've ever been out here, just can I say, as a collaborator with the course, they've been more than helpful. A lot of this falls on Leslie, but certainly it's student run. And when I'm out here, the interns have been so great about everything, working with my students with dye crop and helping them to learn, to mesh what the plant and ag science is with the aesthetics that we're after. So it's been a really great experience.